Thank you for agreeing to share with us some of your experiences in the community of Lafayette, and in particular with the development and building of the new library. Thank you.
Okay.
Sally Bellenger, interviewed by Nancy Sherman, 12208.
Actually, my grammar school I went to had the most marvelous library. They had, the kindergarten was here, and it was a round room, and the library was a round room, and it was comfortable, and it was wonderful, and had everything that a little kid would want.
Where was that?
That was in Scarsdale, New York, at Fox Meadow Grammar School. Yes.
How important was reading to you when growing up?
As a little kid, not really. When I got to be about 8, 9, 10, I would read my father's books because he'd hid them under the bed, and I thought, well, this is something I should read.
Were they naughty?
No. What they were Earl Stanley Gardner's
They were mysteries.
mysteries. I've loved them ever since. So, and they're not very difficult to read, so fifth, sixth grader can do it.
Did you have favorite childhood books, or would
Yes.
those be the
Well,
ones
those
you would choose?
those are the ones that brought me into the adult era. But when I was a kid, it was the Five Chinese Brothers and Mr. Popper's Penguins. My two favorite. I still have them.
Did your children read them?
Not really. I hate saying that, but
Yeah.
I would read it to them,
Good.
and hopefully that they would enjoy those books. Try to read them before they went to school.
Now, did you grow up in the New York area, or?
Yes. We moved out to California when I was 16.
And did you have an awareness of community, and what might it have been while you were growing up? Awareness of community.
Well, the one thing that I remember that everyone was involved with, and we're going way back, was the Mother's March of Dimes.
Mm-hmm.
And because my mother was involved with that, and that basically that, and after school sports, doing things like that, and there was only one high school, so that was nice. And of course, my older brother and sister preceded me, and of course, oh, we know you, you know, that kind of thing. So which gives you a good sense of community. And the schools were small; they weren't huge. So everybody knows everybody, which is excellent.
And can you elaborate a little bit on your education?
Okay, I went to Scarsdale High School till I finished as a sophomore, went to Convent of the Sacred Heart in Menlo Park, but now it's called Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton. The school didn't move, but they just changed their address. And then I went to Berkeley, University of California at Berkeley.
What about work experiences?
Okay. They weren't really fantastic. I finished off working for Greyhound, paying their bills. Nothing too exciting. I wish it were, but it wasn't.
Now, as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
what were your early community experiences?
Basically, going up to school and working with the kids in my children's classrooms. That would be the first.
What attracted you to Lafayette, and how long have you lived here now?
Okay, we moved here in 1971. The youngest, my child Greg, was 6 months old, and we moved here because the schools did well, or the students did well. Let's put it in those terms. And that's important. And I'm a firm believer in public education. So.
Okay. Now, I have some community goals here, and we want to ask if you see Lafayette meeting those goals. A place of mutual support, shared values, and acceptance of differences.
I'd like to think that we accept everyone's differences. the milieu that I'm in, I see that as a truth. I think basically most people move here, and what they're most interested in is the schools. And I think we all help the schools to be better by helping up at school, and of course the Arts and Science Foundation does a marvelous job. And I think we all add to that.
And what are your earliest memories of Lafayette's library?
There weren't as many books as I would have liked. I like libraries. I just like to go browse and see new things, and definitely for research on projects that I have, or to look into things.
So when the next question asks, how often do you personally use the Lafayette Library, and for what especially, you would answer?
How often?
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard question. When I want to look something up, I'm now getting more advanced at using the computer. I'm not really good at it, but I try. But when I want to look and see things like cookbooks, mysteries, and what's available and stuff, and I want something, I'll go in. However, I buy most of my books from the Friends of the Lafayette Library book room, because I'm there all the time. And the prices are fantastic.
How do you feel a library serves a community?
Oh, I think a library is totally important, basically because it's the access to information, and we wouldn't be anywhere without it. And information, either the new library is going to have an awful lot of computers. I don't know. Now we only have about 4, but add a 0 to it, I think about, I probably am wrong. I don't know, but a lot of computers. So for those that don't have one, and for those that want it right then and there while you're there, it's available to everybody. And of course, all that information that one needs to have, newspapers, magazines, it's there.
Okay. Have you been involved in the library over the years, and if so, in what way?
Let's see, I've worked for the Friends of the Lafayette Library book room for, could be 20 years. I've been on the board for almost as long, of the Friends board. I'm also on the communications committee of the foundation that deals with getting money. Yeah, so that's and planning events. They've got some awfully smart women there. It's wonderful.
Can you be more specific about some of your experiences in that?
Well, experiences. Working on the communications committee, I've absolutely bowled over with the intelligence and the abilities of the women that are on there. Working with the Friends, I just like all the people I work with, and getting my hands on and actually making money at the book room is fun.
Really?
Otherwise, it's absolutely fun, and neat people. And if it weren't fun, we wouldn't be able to keep our volunteers, and they've been there longer than I. So if it weren't fun, it would be difficult at best. But we just keep the same volunteers forever.
You make it fun for each other.
Absolutely, yeah.
And is there a lot of turnover? Do a lot of people come in and purchase?
We make $50,000 a year for the library, and we've every year approximately $20,000 goes to the librarian for whatever she needs, and the other part goes into a building fund. And our building fund has given, including money that comes in for the Friends from people who belong, we gave $750,000 to the city and $250,000 to the opening book collection.
Wow.
That's very
Fabulous.
impressive.
It really is.
My goodness.
I know.
had no idea.
Yeah, most people don't. It's, no, we just work away. 50 cents here, $1 there.
And how often?
We have book sales the first and third Saturdays of the month from 9 till 12. And around Christmas time, we have 3 days in a row that coincide with the boutique that's there. And that's it.
And then people can go in and buy anytime.
If the door's open, yes. Or if we're there. Someone's usually there every morning anyway.
And how often do you?
Well, while Joan Merriman was ill and recuperating, that was about September through December to the beginning of January, I was there every day
Oh my goodness.
doing what she did. But she's back, and so basically I'm in charge of the Friday sales. And no, I work Friday with my group that works sorting, doing all that good stuff, and in charge of the first of the month sale. So
Pretty impressive.
Yes,
Oh.
that's a lot of volunteer hours.
it adds up.
Are there other community events or projects or organizations that you've been involved with that you could talk
Yes.
a little bit about?
Okay, now one is the tile artwork that's on Safeway,
Uh-huh.
and the people involved in that was myself, Carolyn Kerr, Lou Jones, and Erling Horn, and Tom White. So all of us pulled that together.
How long did that go on?
Several months,
Yeah.
3 or 4 or 5 months. Basically, we had to have something on the wall there that Safeway was willing to give to the city, and something that couldn't be destroyed. So it really, we had to be careful about what kind of project it was going to be. So
And-
tiles are pretty indestructible.
And people were cooperative with the design and all of that.
Yes, yes. They found a wonderful woman, I guess up in the North Bay, who was trying to get known as a tile artist.
Oh,
So we got a good deal, because basically it could have been, we wouldn't have been able to afford it.
uh-huh.
So it was very good. And also there's we were. And there's, I don't know what you'd call it, a tower outside of the city offices they had a thing in all of Contra Costa County where every city did an art tower. And basically the same people that worked on the wall at Safeway worked on that one. But we have all different artists from Lafayette represented. So it's all sorts of pictures dealing with Lafayette.
But there were all artists who did it.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're moving into library history. Obviously, you were not here in 1940, but 1962, were you here already?
No,
No,
71.
no, 71,
No, 9 years
okay.
later.
Let's go on then to the new library.
Oh, okay.
In the study of 1996, do you recall who were involved? Were you involved?
No.
No. So
But
you don't know the results of this study, or do you?
I've forgotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, from the board, from the our board for the Friends, it was Marianne Hoisington and Ruth Bailey that were on that. It was a community-wide group,
Okay.
and they sent out questionnaires and tried to figure out what they were doing.
Yeah, it's asking here what were the results of this study and what did responders want. So I assume that's asking what did the community, what were their wishes? At that point,
At that point,
96,
computers, lots of books,
yeah.
easily accessible to the schools, which was the reason for having it where it is. And actually, the fact that it was such a hard piece of property
Indeed.
makes it
Indeed.
a much more interesting building. So
So people
that's a
wanted
good
it
point.
physically close to the school.
As close as they could get it, because they felt that the kids would be walking to the
And
library.
because it always had been, too.
That's right,
So there was that precedent. Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting.
yeah. As opposed to going somewhere else with a piece of property that would be more easily built upon, they chose this one.
I think it's going to be wonderful.
I think,
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being multi-layered. It's gonna be nice.
Do you know who was on the Vision Task Force? Do you know that?
No.
No. And can we say how Vision evolved into a real plan for those involved? It's a hard question.
It is. I think there were certain basics that they needed, and one was the proximity to the schools, how large it was going to be, and once they figured out that we were going to have a consortium of 12 entities, that also is a big decision on how big the library had to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't just going to be bigger and just books and maybe computers. They went very creatively.
So in a way that answers this next question. What do you think created the change from the limited number of people named as contributors to the larger group that came forward? The consortium, do you think, was part of that?
Very definitely, yeah. And when you say contributors, do you mean people who have donated money so
I
far?
think so. But perhaps contributors in other ways as well.
Yeah.
Community
Well, the whole
volunteers.
idea of the consortium was Roger Falcone.
Okay.
And that was just a stroke of genius. And it's because of that that we got the money from the state. If it weren't for that, we wouldn't have gotten any money, because we already have a library.
That's right.
And the contributors, basically the foundation went out asking people. And that worked. They got an awful lot of money that way. Wealthier people in the town and stuff. The ask for the community at large really hasn't happened yet. They're starting with some, what do you call those things? Not projects, but party-like things and big.
house party.
Yeah, they're going to be doing that.
Booklet they were talking about yesterday.
Oh, yes,
Sounds fabulous.
it's gorgeous, isn't it?
I haven't seen it.
We haven't
but
seen it.
Brenda
Oh.
said it was just gorgeous.
It is, it's wonderful,
So that'll be a big thing.
yeah.
So when it asks how did the idea of a Learning Center Consortium come about, it's Roger Falcone that
Yes.
you're speaking about. What do
Yeah.
you think his impetus was?
Probably great imagination,
Yeah.
and what, living in this area in San
And knowing
Francisco
what's
Bay Area,
available.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think he works for UC, is it Lawrence Radiation Lab? I don't know, but he has something, maybe he's a physicist at UC, I'm not sure. And he knows of all these things that you can get, because they have all these wonderful projects that they do. And then once they do it once, it goes into the basement, and why not use it 3 times?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not just UC Berkeley, we've got Lawrence, not the Lawrence Lab, I don't think so. You know, the animal
Alexander Lindsay.
and Lindsay Museum, we've got all sorts of wonderful things
Yeah,
around here.
Yeah, no, it is fabulous.
And
So why is the new library important to you?
yes.
Can you say why?
Why? Because I think libraries are the one thing that keeps everybody free. It's kind of esoteric kind of thing, but I really think that without them, we just listen to somebody and say, oh, that's true, poobah. I mean, you get all these,
That's a great answer.
That is
Oh.
wonderful.
That's a great answer.
yeah, because we need to, you know, it's like, are we going to have books that you can't read? That's silly. You know, like if you're not going to read Karl Marx, how do you know about communism? You have to get it from whence it came. You can't just say, oh, okay, it's good, it's bad. You got to look at it. And that's true with everything.
why did you want to participate in the development?
That's kind of interesting. I started little, working with the friends at the book room, and you just kind of get swept up into things. And then they say, "Oh, Sally, why don't you come here? We got something for you to do." And it just escalates.
Okay, so that answers how did you first get involved, and
Yeah.
then what role or roles have you played?
Well, okay, working at the book room, I'm on the board of the Friends of the Lafayette Library, and I'm on the communications committee for the foundation.
Ah,
And so that's a lot. And it's all dealing with the same thing, which is the library, the new library, making money for the library, all those things.
big issue, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you say what you've enjoyed the most in participating?
Yes, it's the people that I participate with because they're wonderful. And as for, I think, just about anything that people do, if you don't like the people you're working with, you're not going to do it. And they're wonderful.
What about obstacles? Have there been any, and how were they overcome?
Obstacles. I don't know of any because the people working on this are so bright that they come up with answers to the problems. Some of the problems would be where to put the library to begin with, and they came out with this idea. And because of the landscaping of the library itself, you get a much better designed library, I think.
More interesting, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you observed any particular personalities, any that stood out, making a real impact on this new library, and why?
Oh, well, of course, there's the one that I have the most oh God, what's the word? The most with communications with would be Linda Peterson. She's the president of the Friends. She's also the head lady for the communications committee, and she's marvelous. She's excellent at what she does. And of course, Joan Merriman started the book room way back in the late '60s, so she's still doing that, and that's a big money raiser with 50-cent books, and it adds up.
This is a little bit of a repeat, but it's asking what are your best memories of your involvement with the new library? Can you elaborate, and what was the most fun, the most rewarding?
The most rewarding and the most fun is working with the people that I work with at the book room.
Yeah.
They're wonderful,
Yeah.
and we've been working together for years and years, and they're funny, and I just really like them all. They're very good.
What about values? It's asking what values did this contribution touch that you hold dear, and why?
Well, if one has the opportunity to help something that you really like, and I'm big on libraries for many, many reasons. And it started out small, and it just gives me a good feeling doing something that I think is important.
Okay. Have you seen any transformation in Lafayette, Ari, the new library?
Not really.
Not yet, maybe.
No, not yet. I think the fact that the building's going up and people can see something actually happening is more to the point, even though the planning and everything was years before.
I know I drive by and I get a little tinge of excitement as I see things starting to take some
And
shape
I think
there.
most of the people that I know about the library from day one, basically, because I keep telling them about it.
Yeah.
And but I think as a rule, I think people are excited about it and willing to donate money because we still need money.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Yes, ongoing.
Have you seen an increase in community involvement in the library?
On some of these committees, on this committee, especially the communications committee, I see younger and younger women, which is good, because now I'm one of the older ones, and I like the fact that we've got the younger families involved, because this is going to, the work that needs to be done is going to be ongoing, and once you get older, sometimes the ongoing doesn't last as long.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you say what's most exciting to you about this new project? Did any ideas, words, activities particularly draw your attention?
Well, I love the consortium idea. I just wish my children were younger,
Yeah.
and we could take advantage of it. But the only ones that can take advantage of it now are my husband and myself. And there's
Well,
all
maybe
sorts
there
of
will
things.
be grandchildren.
Yeah, but they'd be far away.
I see.
But you know, with the Commonwealth Club and people like that are part of the consortium, there's going to be a lot of things for adults.
That's right, the Commonwealth is part of the
Yeah.
consortium.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why do you think citizens of our city have responded as enthusiastically as they have to this new project?
It goes back to the schools again. If you're interested in education for your children and that's the reason you moved here, you're going to be interested in a library, because that's a place of great learning and a place where you can get what you need.
People used to say libraries are dying, you know, as computers came along. They were wrong, weren't they?
I absolutely think so. I think that's a bad premise to go with. But first of all, there's nothing nicer than holding a book in your hands. I'm one of these very tactile people, and I love turning a page. And you go down an aisle and you see some book, The Mining of Contra Costa County. Well, hey, I don't know anything about that, but let's look at it. And you don't really do that when you're on a computer. You usually have a designated site that you want, and there's no browsing.
It's a different experience.
It really is. And I just, of course, I love the feel of paper. But
Oh, right.
I love paper.
All right.
And I think books are just great. You can get big, heavy books, put them on a pillow, little books. It's wonderful. And you can see all different things just by going down the aisle and looking. Find things you've never known.
Looking ahead to the future, is there an outcome you hope most for the new library, and what do you look forward to using, doing, enjoying the most? So first, what outcome, and then what do you look forward to the most?
Well, the outcome is that it will be highly used by everyone.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
mature down to little kids. I think it's the availability of everything. There's something for everybody. I would like to be able to see enough money to keep it running the way it should be, and that's donations. Even though we've got the building built, it's the upkeep that's going to be a biggie, and that's going to take contributions from everybody, and I hope everyone wants to be a part of that.
You talked about your love of paper and the printed word and books, and do you think that perhaps having many computers there will draw people in who might then branch into the stacks themselves?
I think any way you get a person in the building is okay with me.
Yeah.
And computers are definitely here to stay. It's not that they're not, but you got the best of both.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the library might affect or better serve or enhance our sense of community?
Well, in one way, it's going to be a place where you can meet people, where you'll see people and say, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you in a while." There's going to be, I think, a cafe and the availability to even have a cup of coffee in the library, which,
Wow.
yeah, I know.
It's a new world.
I know. You're gonna have to
There really
be
is
more
gonna be
careful.
a cafe? Oh, is there?
You're gonna be able to have coffee and all that good
I think
stuff.
that's
Except
very-
me, I'm probably not.
You and me both. I'm not noted for being very neat.
Is there anyone else that you think we should contact for an interview?
I gave a couple names, and I think you have them. Lou Jones, for one, because
Yes.
she grew up here.
Yes.
I think Gladys Laston's been here for a long time. Now, Barbara Capra, maybe, she grew up here.
She did.
Both
yeah.
she and her husband.
Yeah.
She went to school with she was in Joanne's class. My husband's
Oh, really? Oh,
at
because,
Aquarius, yeah.
okay.
I don't know if we have her name, so that's.
That might be a good one.
yeah. I don't remember her husband's name. Do you remember his
Ray.
name? Ray. Okay. And have I left anything out? Do you have any final?
Do you know someone else?
Yeah.
I've got it. So she lives in Orinda, but she works with the Friends at the book room, and she was in Ray's class at Akalani's, and that's Pat Dray, D-R-A-A, and she lives in Orinda.
She's in Orinda. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that works,
But she knew Ray, or was
she
in
knew
his
Ray, so they
class.
graduated 50 years ago from Akalani's.
Okay.
So she may have more information.
Thank you.
I need you to smile at me. That's great.
And if you want to wait a minute, I can give you her telephone number.
Actually, that may have been the best one.
Oh,
You want to see?
Well,
it?
before
Oh,
you
you're not
do
done.
that,
Okay.
yeah.
have I left
Yeah, I
anything
thought you-
out that you'd like to add, or do you have final thoughts?
I don't know. No final thoughts. I just think libraries are so wonderful and so needed, and a way of getting information outside of your television set.
I agree.
It keeps us. I mean, going off on a thing. I think that's freedom is having a library. So
I love
it's-
that line.
That's the best thing you've got.
I love that line.
Oh, okay,
So
because
please go off on that.
okay.
We'd like you to go off on that.
You know,
That would
because
be great.
otherwise, if you just get all your information from one or two sources, you're not getting the whole story. And as of, listening to our presidential candidates, things aren't as clear as I would like to hear them, unfortunately.
Me neither.
And they get off on a tangent and start. But then again, that's what they do.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.